right, we're gonna try this again now that everything is finally working. All right, are we good? That's not what. God dang it, you're both doing it now. Okay,
That's not.
I'm James. This is Beer Protocol. That's Jake, and
Hi.
that over that way is David from Inspiring Monologue.
Hello.
God, we started this before. I've actually started drinking wine, and then Skype decided just to throw up.
These are unrelated.
Mm.
No one's got one
James, you're
keyboard.
drinking a blend, correct?
I'm drinking an Argentinian blend that sucks.
Today I have a drink from Star Hill, their front row golden ale. It's quite nice.
And I am drinking a very old vintage of Adam's Ale.
God, I really want that. So
James.
angry.
You've invited someone else into our sacred time.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, this is your chance to introduce them. This is me teeing you
oh,
up.
I'm so sorry. So yeah, I started just trolling the Marvel Crisis Protocol forum, Facebook group, wherever you want to call it now. God, I'm old. And yeah, there's just some strange guy who posted some article about like a card, and it was actually really good. So reached out to him and said, "Hey, we're a bunch of idiots with cameras and microphones. Do you want to be an idiot with a camera and a microphone?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do that." And then all this pandemic stuff hit, and we didn't get to do
Welcome
anything
to the
for
bare
like
minimum.
4 months.
It's been a while.
Yep. Like I said before, that you didn't guys need to hear because I killed the recording. His blog is underneath his picture, like over there somewhere, and it will also be in the show description notes. It's technically right beneath you, so you can point straight down. And then, yeah, it'll also be in the show notes, so you'll be able to see it there too. Go check it out. He actually, what was the last one you did? Was it? Shoot.
I believe your newest article is on Miles, character summary.
Oh, I haven't read
Yes.
that one yet.
I've been very lazy the past few weeks due to life, so it's
Yeah.
not been as frequent. But we're getting back, hopefully.
Yeah, we have no, I guess, script. We've got no. We're just gonna BS.
No agenda.
We're so happy to have you on our little program, our little show.
Thank
So,
you.
kind of what we had talked about previously is I think we're interested both having different ideas bouncing off each other, because James and I have been kind of in our own vacuum for a little bit. We think Iron Man is bad. We happen to think that the Guardians of the Galaxy affiliation ability is slightly underpowered. We've had our own ideas that we've been stewing in, mostly me correcting James. Never mind when I've been wrong. James is not qualified to correct me, so it's really just been a one-way.
Savage.
Hey, listen, we were both wrong about the back of Thanos' card, so shut the hell up.
That's exactly my point. When I was wrong, you accepted it and didn't even try to correct me.
No, chicken was talking about. So one of the things we kind of did want to talk about is I feel that there is some power creep in Marvel Crisis Protocol. Jake disagrees. I think Black Order is pretty much the most powerful grouping right now. How do you feel about that?
It's tricky, you see, because I'm not especially a tournament player, which hopefully I've made very clear in my articles. So I'm not particularly focused on what is the most optimal play or the most optimal team. I more play with my friends and roll some dice and have some food, and have fun. I think, that being said, they are powerful, but I think they do have weaknesses that could well be balanced out. I've not played with them enough yet. I've only just got painted up.
Yeah.
But for example, there's not that many of them. I think like a Guardians team, they might not be as powerful attack-wise. Possibly, I've not played with them a lot either. But they've got the numbers to get the objectives, and objectives win the game ultimately.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can. If you take Thanos, I'd say this is a couple affiliations where you could almost bring 2 people for every one of their models. But with the point, if you bring very low cost people, of course. But we see there's a couple affiliations like if anything, Black Order is kind of a reversal of the trend where we have an affiliation with high cost models and high performance models, but not many in number. Whereas Guardians before them was lots and lots of average to below average cost models. Asgard was a little on average, Thor being the exception. And then before then, Wakanda was another low. I think, and then we see Web Warriors coming after affiliation. We can already see there's another team lead at cost 3. Actually, the 2 models we've seen so far are at cost 3, Spider-Man 4. I wouldn't be surprised that's another average to below average cost per model affiliation. So they're the heavies. Like that seems to be the role that Black Order was kind of carved out for them, even more so than the other villain affiliation, which is Cabal. Cabal being their kind of catch-all of we need some iconic MCU villains, but they don't actually have a team.
I'd love to field the whole Black Order team. But how much threat start Thanos is? 6 more, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 22.
22 if you don't count
stones. With no stones. Currently, there's not a scenario in the game that'll let you take all of them.
You don't need all of them. Like Black Dwarf, you can kind of put to the side.
But you want them.
You do want all of them.
Although I do want to play the scenario, the Ultimate Crisis that ships with Thanos. I saw there's a rule in there where at a certain point he'll start summoning the Black Order to assist him every round. So they might all show up, but against you. So I don't know if that's good.
So David, have you played that yet?
I've got it set up, and this afternoon I was just trying to get my head around the rules because there's quite a lot to keep track of. But I gave up after 1 round.
So I read in the Facebook group a lot of people are bitching, like they're like it's not winnable. It's just not winnable at all.
It's like, did you all see the cover? The box this came in? Thanos is getting off of his chair to punch you in the face.
I love the Ultimate Encounters because that's the game style I play the most. Because the main people I play with, 2 others.
His throne comes with skulls.
It does.
Not enough. Not enough, apparently, because I've seen a bunch of people with just like Thanos, throne, a box of 40k skulls that they're just going to like glue and dump on top of the throne and just kind of stylize in place.
Spray it with glue.
Raining skulls. Hallelujah.
Just ruin a dry brush and apply some glue around the base of the throne and just throw skulls at it.
So when you actually run it, I want to see a blog about the how you feel about it because so many people are just like, nope, it's just not winnable. We're not going to play it.
I don't care if it's not winnable. It's the Infinity Gauntlet. It's got to be hard. You don't want it to be a pushover, do you?
They haven't released an Adam Warlock model, so there's no Deus Ex Machina to win the scenario for you.
This is true.
If you've read the comic, this is how that fight's supposed to go. You lose.
And then Adam Warlock shows up, and yeah.
This is canon.
or God, who's the guy on the moon that just speaks and blows up planets?
Oh, Black Bolt.
Thank you. Why always forget Black Bolt? Like, yeah, he.
I was like, I don't think the Watcher blows up planets. That's like the only Marvel person I could think of on the moon. But you're right. I completely forgot that the Inhumans are a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I refuse.
No.
Oh wait, no. They.
Good. Like, not the last like 2 seasons, but before that's pretty good.
Season 4 is amazing. Is that season 4 with Ghost Rider and then the framework? That 4?
I'll be honest. I watched about halfway through. I watched I watched up to like 3 episodes of season 3, and then I'm like, oh no, they're doing the soap opera thing where we're just litigating the same storyline over and over again.
Where we can't yell mutants, so we're just gonna say Inhumans over and over again.
It's like I love a good story about found families, but I don't want to see the same show repeat that storyline 3 times in a row over 3 seasons.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, how do we feel about X-Men?
Don't know who they are. Never heard of them.
Yeah. We've been playing a lot. Oh, go ahead.
I was say everyone's humming that theme tune. So good.
You cannot, like, every time you hear the word X-Men, the first thing that pops in your mind is that stupid theme.
So we've been playing a good amount of Fantasy Flight's Imperial Assault, which is a Star Wars sort of competitive miniature skirmish game. Great game. But there is a defense die where there's a complete dodge, which just has a big X on it, but it's an X with a circle. Cute. cue 5 idiots over Discord all going whenever that whenever that X appears. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Rightly so. Absolutely rightly so.
I am actually not excited about X-Men.
I kind of think you're wrong.
You kind of think?
So on the one hand, I think X-Men is going to be a huge injection of content that people are genuinely hungry for. Like, we love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We love the heroes that we come to represent. For a lot of people, and I really think there's going to be a lot of older people like our age, and not so much people who came up with the Marvel movies, but people who remember the X-Men cartoon from the 90s, who remember the X-Men movies from the late 90s, early 2000s. The X-Men are the superhero property that's going to bring people into the game. I will be honestly surprised if it doesn't have its own core set, because there's enough content. The X-Men have a large enough depth and breadth of characters to have heroes and villains. The risk could be is when you inject a lot of new people. I think flavor wise, they're going to be unique. I have enough faith in the developers. We're going to see some really interesting abilities. We're going to see some fun flavor. Mechanically, though, you do kind of hit a ceiling after a while. Where it's just like, how do we keep making these pieces feel unique? And the X-Men are a big enough stable to bring in. There's going to be a lot of X-Men models. And so if you're going to add a lot of models within a short period of time, how do we keep that feeling distinct and avoid James?
No.
James, focus. How do you avoid power creep?
There's only so many times you can put charge on a card.
Oh my god. Or you just rename it. It's like you can move and then attack. It's Power Slide.
Look, we all know that Colossus and Wolverine are going to have a tactics card.
Yes.
Yeah.
We know what that tactics card will be.
Casual chip.
So when they started off, they did the MCU people plus MODOK.
Correct, because that was the most recent, most recognizable thing.
Are they going to go, let's go to the comics and start talking about some of the X-Men in the comics? Or are they going to go, let's go to the 90s cartoon and start pulling some of the 90s cartoon X-Men?
It's going to be the Hugh Jackman movies. I almost promise you it's going to be the people that were in the Hugh Jackman movies.
You reckon? Would you reckon Xavier or Cyclops will be the leader of the X-Men?
I think Cyclops, because that ties in a bit more with comic and current lore. Like Xavier, I'm not actually sure Xavier might even show up as a playable model. I don't know. Like, for some reason, it doesn't make sense to me.
It will, and he'll have an ultimate encounter along with Magneto.
Magneto will, 100%. I'd almost think Xavier's presence might be tactics cards, or maybe even... No, maybe not the team affiliation, but I think Xavier's going to be all over tactics cards, maybe, if he's not a model.
Is this like the Capcom game where like the guy just jumps out for a second? Well, he's not going to jump out, but he just jumps out for a second, does some powerful thing, and then jumps back?
Could be.
Look, I'm looking forward to a year from now or 2 years from now when the X-Men are out and you have people at tables at your local hobby shop just doing the Colossus yell. Oh! And everyone's just like, throw him.
You've seen how people have done mods on Thor to have super tall 6-foot lightning coming off the top of the hammer. Mm-hmm. What do you think they're going to do for Cyclops' eye beam?
Oh God!
Not all that long.
Please, no. It's just gonna be a measuring stick. They're just gonna stick it into his eye.
They'll take that lightning range ruler and just glue that to his face. Paint it red.
I mean, if we're going to do predictions, I think Cyclops is team leader. Wolverine will be in the starting wave. Storm will definitely be one of the starting releases. I'm a little iffy on Rogue. Rogue's a popular character. And she does have flight, which would give them some movement stuff. Like, I'd almost think
Storm, and she's got flight too, and that's way better to use. Her power of taking other people's powers will be interesting.
No, if she's within like 2, she can copy a superpower on someone else's card. She'll be a weird amount of Loki. Like, she's just within a certain radius and she can use one of the powers on someone else's card once per turn.
Do we reckon we'll have Jean Grey or Phoenix?
Mm-hmm. Probably both.
Oh, actually, that would be a good flip card. Where it's like Jean Grey on the front side, and then she gets beat up too much, you flip it over and she's Phoenix.
Yeah.
And she's a bad guy.
Or they use the affiliations rule where there are actually two different Jean Grey models. I remember I have to get my hands higher for what I'm doing to appear. Yeah,
It's like, have you seen Talladega Nights?
a long time ago, but yeah.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Mm.
Um,
So these guys are from War Machine and Hordes. I'm very afraid that they are going to pull a Hordes, and it's going to be, no, you just start off with a certain amount of power, and it dribbles down. I'm really
maybe
afraid they're going to do that.
they might introduce like a core game-changing mechanic like that. I kind of don't think they will, though, because one of the strengths of Crisis Protocol is the relative simplicity of stuff going on right now, and I think they're gonna. There's a lot of risk for them to muck up the basic parts of the game rules, like how to generate power.
It'll be interesting to see how they do it. Not sure.
I'm still not excited about it. I know it brings in, like, if they do that, they're going to bring in the Brotherhood. They'll bring in, like, Magneto, and they'll bring in Juggernaut, and they'll bring in all the big names, because you know they're going to bring in Juggernaut, and please, if they do, let there be a card that just says Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut bitch.
I doubt you're going to see that word on anything
Yeah.
officially printed
I
by this
have seen
company.
people who have crossed out on the Thor card and said, "Get help" on the
Yeah.
side. It's going to be a card.
I think my favorite idea of what I've seen for what the Juggernaut could do is he has a power that lets him charge through a terrain piece.
Hmm.
So he can like charge through a building and hit someone on the other side of it.
That'd be cool. You know what the best thing about the X-Men coming out is? We can finally stop painting so much black.
I haven't done the Black Order yet, but I think I'm just going to prime black. just go from there.
I don't know, man. Do you still want some colors on them? I don't know if I would. I know they're called the Black Order, so I primed my measuring sticks black because I figured have the black stick with the bright color. It takes a lot of layers to get
Yeah.
any level of bright color going once you've primed it black.
For sure. Mine are the dark blue order.
Yeah. If it, Privateer Press has a paint called Coal Black, which gives it like a very. I love Coal Black. It's one of my favorite dark shades, but it's very much like a dark blue black. Actually, I have just in front of me.
It's a blue.
Maybe I could.
No, he's disappearing,
Black-
and now he's green.
Mm.
So this may or may not be visible, but that is like a coal black once it's had a little bit of time to dry. So it's kind of got that black color from a distance, but as you get closer, it's very much like a blue.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah,
And you got
actually.
Black Panther?
Sorry, go ahead.
I said you've got to love Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. No.
It took 2 colors to paint that.
Yeah.
It took coal black and some platinum for the metal bits, and I was done.
No, loyal. Sacrilege.
I play all villains. Like
Yeah.
I abhor the heroes. Like I like Captain America in the.
This is why you lose.
Oh no, I lose because I'm bad. So
Fighting words. It's not about winning and losing. It's about the journey, the fun had on the way.
No, it's about beating James.
It's about the
well.
journey as I'm getting my butt kicked the entire way. I don't know. Something about the heroes is just
Heroic, inspiring.
they're too goody for me.
Who'd you like to play then, James?
I end up playing. Well, I'm gonna try the Black Order, but I am using Red Skull, Baron Zemo, Winter Soldier, MODOK. Who else is in my grouping? That's kind of like the base I go for, and then I just add other people.
I feel like every time there's a new release, I'm like talking about, oh, and you can use this piece with that piece. You can have new combinations, and James is in the back going, how does this help Red Skull? every single release.
How can I get him to blast more?
It's like, yes, a new affiliation. Who amongst them is worthy of Red Skull?
What happened?
Killmonger? How does Killmonger help Red Skull?
I've got to say, I'm with you. For a long time, I was a Cabal player. when we just had the core set. They are
So-
good.
Going from the core set onto the future, we're now how many affiliations are there in this crazy game we play? There was 2 in the core set, Wakanda,
The
Asgard,
Guardian,
Guardians,
Black Order.
Black Order, and Guardians, I think, and then Web Warriors will be 5.
No, so that'd be
5
7.
additional.
5 additional.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone, we have to count our fingers. It's the quarantine times.
Yeah.
And Defenders will be out with Doctor Strange.
That's
These
true.
next or the month after.
And
Spider Foes as well.
we know Spider Foes,
do
Sinister
we,
6.
wait, do
is
we
in the pipeline.
know? Do we know Spider Foes?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm pretty
Goblin's
sure
going to have an
I found it, yeah.
affiliation. And you still have Doc Ock from the core set who doesn't have an affiliation. He's going to be in someone's affiliation.
I'm sure they've
it's-
confirmed on one of the streams that Spider Foes is Green Goblin is the leader.
Oh,
See,
really?
I'm looking
I think
I
so,
missed
yeah.
that.
I'm looking forward to Otto Octavius being our first person to be in both the heroic and villainous affiliation. He's going to be in the villainous as Doc Ock, and he's going to be in the heroic Web Warriors as the ultimate as Spider-Man Supreme. Or I'm trying to remember what his alias was.
Superior.
Superior.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's where he takes over Peter Parker's body when
Yeah.
he's dying.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a hero now.
But- Maybe that's your transition into heroic figures. You can start as Superior Spider-Man.
So, I kind of adore the Spider Folk. I didn't before, like the comics themselves.
Those mystical creatures, the Spider Folk. May the legend be passed down from generation to generation.
This is why I don't talk very much.
They're like Smurf.
I didn't like Spider-Man and his little group in the comics. I did like the sarcasm. I did like the Mary Jane yelling at him when he came back, saying like, "Don't you tell me you're fighting the Vulture." I like the villains from Spider-Man. I think Venom's kind of over the top, but like they're just like sometimes they're just normal people, like like Rhino, like especially in the movies, he's just like a guy who just got a suit. Vulture, guy with a suit.
Yeah, there was a very long trend of Spider-Man villains in like the 80s where it was just he's got an animal theme in his suit.
Yeah.
Kraven the Hunter. We don't know what his deal is. He just wears pelts.
Kraven's gonna be
hunts.
amazing though.
Oh,
man,
Kraven.
Kraven's out.
Kraven will be a model at some point.
So, but when Into the Spider-Verse came out, and there was Spider Noir, I was just like, oh, I'm kind of a fan now.
What's kind of funny too is Web Warriors already has 2 different like dimensional versions of Spider-Man. Like I know like current
Great.
Marvel comics. Yeah. So I know like current Marvel comics has now like merged Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, and Peter Parker all in the same. Again, I have to get my hands way up here to gesticulate correctly. But they've now merged them into the same sort of universe, as opposed to like the original like 3 different timelines they were in.
We're all doing yoga. Stop yoga.
But I kind of wonder, because this isn't the first time there's been like a Spider-Verse crossover of different alternate dimensional Peter Parkers. There was one in the comics and in the cartoon where he had like a Peter Parker who still had the spider, like the mutation where he had 6 fleshy arms. You had a Peter Parker with Doc
yeah.
Ock's arms. Like there's a lot of alternate universe Peter Parkers. Like that's been like a weird running thread for decades. So you could
I'm sorry.
How-
I don't know why that sparked my memory, but go ahead and I'll say it after.
There's at least one universe where Peter Parker became Iron Man more or less and had no powers but just money.
Iron Spider.
Well, that's the more modern version. This was like a one-off of just he was literally Tony Stark when Tony Stark was like a C tier Marvel character. There was already
He's a C tier on the MCP too.
I mean, I agree, but
All right, so I
so
have a question.
Spider People will be fun. The Spider Folk. I'm sorry.
The Spider Folk. Where the hell is Ghost Rider going to fit into all this?
Wherever he wants, he's Ghost Rider.
I don't know if he'll be a leader. He'll be on some kind of street team.
But like in the
Sure.
comics, he's not in part of any team. He's just Ghost Rider. He just shows up, causes trouble, pisses people off, and leaves.
He might be unaffiliated. Never know.
I could see him teaming up with Strange, because Strange himself doesn't have a huge cast, but Strange could be maybe like a Mystical Defenders affiliation of all of Marvel's supernatural elements. They could have all of them in an affiliation, like Defenders was kind of like street level heroes. Like I doubt they would call it the Illuminati, like in the comics.
They definitely will not call it that.
But I could see Strange and Ghost Rider being on the same affiliation.
I'm pretty sure last year when they first released images of Doctor Strange at one of the game conventions, it had details with his affiliation on. I'm sure it's Defenders and it's Hulk, Valkyrie, and Spider-Man, I think. Pretty sure.
He's gonna be affiliated with the Defenders, possibly.
Yeah. Let me check.
Oh, we're gonna go to the internet.
I'll take screenshots of everything.
See, this is how more dedicated he is. Like, we start up our stream and we're just like, do we actually have the cards?
Yeah. So this was one of the convention spoiler things. Let's see.
I was gonna say, James, don't throw rocks over there. I spend like 5-10 minutes before every episode being like, okay, where's our reference material?
Doctor Strange 1 introduces a new team affiliation, the Defenders, to the game, opening up squad building options for Hulk, Spider-Man, Hawkeye, Valkyrie, and several other characters. So,
multiple affiliations.
Could be Ghost Rider.
Interesting.
What else have we got here? That's Thanos. I can see that. That's good. Yeah, here, Green Goblin as well. Where is it?
Oh, his affiliation is definitely going to be Sinister Six.
It says, the Green Goblin is a highly volatile character that brings a new affiliation to the game, Spider Foes.
No, they just straight up call it Spider Foes.
Like, come on, they're called the Sinister Six. Well, unless there's going to be, like, more of them, or they haven't gotten the rights to certain ones.
How many characters have been in the Sinister Six, though? There's been more than 6.
More than 6.
So they can't Sinister Six and have 20 of them.
I mean, I wonder if they're going to, like, so they're going to definitely have Doc Ock, they're going to have Green Goblin, they're going to have Rhino, they're going to have Vulture.
Scorpion.
Those are kind of the thing. Oh, they're
Mysterio.
Vulture.
Shocker.
Will they have
Oh my
Shocker?
God. Shocker is so low tier in everyone's in every form of media. Shocker is like right at the bottom.
Like, he's going to be our first 1-point character.
Like
Stone's will be worth more than him.
Which trend do you think is more prevalent? Spider-Man villains being normal people with technology-driven suits, or Batman villains having PhDs? Which one is more common?
Or just everyone named Doctor.
That's because they have a PhD.
No, well, Dr. Fate? Dr. Fate doesn't have a PhD.
Guarantee you he's got a PhD.
No, he doesn't.
Doctor Strange has a PhD.
He does. But the thing is that is the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel is about normal people getting superpowers and having to deal with them as being normal and being superpowered, while DC is just like, we're gods, how do we deal with being gods?
I would literally rather talk about anything than Marvel versus DC.
Oh, Marvel, you and your normal Silver Surfer and Galactus. He's just this normal guy, you know. He likes to eat the plant.
He's just,
he gets hungry.
Carol Danvers, she just got ultimate power. It's fine.
One day you're just a normal dude with your family, and the next day you have a silver surfboard and you're trying to figure out how to ride it in space. There's no instruction manual. How do you calm down and see how do you look your family in the eyes after you wipe out on a starburst?
You don't. You just get Galactus to show up, and that's taken care of. Oh, man.
Guys, in our ultimate theory crafting, what if they release Galactus as a model in this game? You couldn't release just Galactus as one model. Nonsense. It'd be Galactus's foot as a 4-threat model.
No, it's just gonna be a terrain piece. It's just his head and like upper shoulders.
It's gonna be an ultimate encounter, is what it's gonna be.
If I remember correctly, when the game first launched and people started talking about Galactus, someone said that it'll just be one of the players wears a headpiece of Galactus.
I would be down for that.
Maybe some purple gloves or something.
Just sitting there like, okay, we have a 2-player game. Can somebody wear this for us?
100% the Heralds of Galactus will be playable at some point after they've run out of all other options.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is like when they're gonna open up X-Men, so you're gonna have there's a possibility of having the subterranean
Shi'ar?
people.
Mole people?
Mole people.
Yeah, what's their names though?
Morlocks.
Morlocks.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the
I
Morlocks.
don't want Morlocks. Morlocks are basically minions. No minions.
But Leech, just running around going, sorry, you have no powers for the turn.
I feel like that only works on mutants, though. Like, can Leech depower Thor?
Hopefully, yes.
100%. Can we
Hopefully-
just see?
Just walks up to Hulk and just like, banner.
That'll be interesting. You have to stock up on brown paint for all those pouches, though, when the X-Men come out.
Oh my god.
Now, hang on. Is this going to be the Rob Liefeld models or the normal ones?
Let's hope so. Gotta love the
God.
pouch.
Do I have enough yellow for Jubilee's friggin' coat?
You could chuck out all your flesh tone because you won't be painting any feet.
There's like 5 people who listen to that actually find that funny.
And 2 of them are on the call.
Oh, my wife's
poor
like,
Cable is just running around going, I have no feet.
Cable has so many other things to be upset about.
This is true.
So yeah, I'm God, I really hope they bring out Doctor Doom.
Oh, it's got to happen. Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four. Yes, we're waiting on that.
That's gonna be the next big that'll be the next big affiliation is bringing out Fantastic Four, and then bringing out
I don't know.
Doom. But Doctor
I
Doom's
feel like-
just gonna have to have like a bunch of just Doom bots inside of his box.
I kind of feel like Marvel's being a little hesitant with Fantastic Four right now. Like, I don't think they have any major comics running.
There's a very, very strong possibility of them coming out with a Fantastic Four reboot that's under Disney.
Probably.
Yeah, I've heard. Let's hope so.
If anyone can be counted on to make a family-friendly movie that'll do just okay and not stupendous, and at least get the bad taste out of our mouth, Disney could do that.
Disney can do a half-assed job and still actually come out with a good movie.
Will it be a great movie? No. Will it help us forget the previous Fantastic Four movies? No.
Oh, I'm a hacker, and my hacker name is Doctor Doom.
Yeah. Hacktivist.
Look, Doctor Doom's not that hard. You just need a European accented man who is megalomaniacal and wears a suit made of iron for no discernible purpose. Doesn't have to be like weird techno powers. He just wears an iron suit and a hood.
He just wants to look better.
I do think Doctor Doom has a much better chance of being a good villain on screen after Iron Man. Now it's acceptable to just be rich and wear a techno suit.
I mean, we had the Mandarin, kind of.
Oh, man.
They're in.
Quick side note. You guys do know that like the comic book version of the Mandarin is borderline confirmed as being in the MCU, right? And it's not just Ben Kingsley.
Like all rings?
Maybe not the rings, but Marvel released a short after Iron Man 3 came out about Ben Kingsley in prison. And it ends with someone being like, this is for taking our master's name in vain, as he basically just kills a bunch of dudes and kidnaps them from prison. So
I didn't see that.
They've very heavily hinted that the Mandarin is a real thing. However, they've also never followed up on it in like the 10 years since that short came out.
Well, they're making a Shang-Chi film, aren't they?
I mean, he's supposed to be the villain in the next Doctor Strange, so.
What is it?
Man,
I thought they'd brought it back in Shang-Chi, surely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I'm sure with the release of the new stuff on Disney Plus, I'm pretty sure. So, because like you have to know, like Atomic Mass Games has to go to Disney technically and go, is this okay? Can we do this? And they're like, yeah, sure, or no, you can't do that yet. So I'm sure we have a Falcon model that's just sitting on their desk somewhere, and they're like, not yet. Wait till about December when Falcon comes out, and then you can go ahead and release that. So there's stuff out there that they're like, we want to do this, and they're like, you need to wait a year.
So it is a little weird to me that the Defenders affiliation is Doctor Strange and not, the Defenders from the Netflix shows. They must be waiting for those bodies to cool a little bit longer.
They're going more with comics Defenders, aren't they, than TV?
That's true.
Yeah.
So way different lineup, wasn't it?
That is true.
But still, then it's for me the if you went with the Netflix Defenders, it feels more like a Guardians of the Galaxy, just a bunch of B-list superheroes that aren't really that interesting, and it's just you're gonna put a ton of them on the board and just be like, okay, I'm gonna swarm you, as opposed to just even Iron Man, a lot of these comics and stuff they're coming out with, a lot of the people we grew up with and are like, yeah, no, those things are awesome. They're just like, yeah, they're kind of being pushed off.
It's almost like they want to create new stories than just repeat the same character story arc over and over again. Because at some point, you do run out of new stories for a character, and you kind of want to introduce some stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There was the new Iron Man, who was the teenager who built her own Iron Man suit in her garage. Very Tony Stark origin story. And then they're just like, you know what? We think Tony Stark and all of his problems that he never learns from are still more compelling.
Is the little kid also an alcoholic?
Not yet.
All right, so
but she's in a Marvel comic book. It may only be a matter of time till they're just like, what'll make us give us some dramatic tension for a few issues?
That is true.
My ties.
So we're roughly about 37 minutes right now. Closing thoughts. What is the one thing that you really enjoying about the game? And what is the big thing you think is going to happen in about the next year?
Ooh. Who wants to go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Jake has no.
I could go. I think one of my favorite things about the game is the emphasis on some dynamic interaction on an individual piece level. Is almost every piece they come out with is going to do something to the game state, even with my
except for
point. No, Iron Man has his place. We just don't like that place. Nowadays we'd rather Hawkeye take that place because Hawkeye is going to be more effective at a longer range. But I feel like every piece is still going to interact with the game state. Every piece is doing more than being kind of just static in there. Coming from a game like War Machine and Hordes, where you have units of pieces, which they're all pretty identical. And they're all going to kind of do this thing, and you're only going to get really dynamic rules interaction with a few individual pieces out of that 30 models you brought to the table. I like that this game has a lot of dynamic interaction, be it terrain interaction, throws, superpowers on each piece. So every activation feels like something could happen. I think the biggest thing in the next year is going to be X-Men and whatever form it takes. Because I really do think we're looking at a potential second core set to try to give people a good jumping on point. And I don't think it's going to be as drastic as a second edition of the game, but it's going to be a big opportunity for them to reveal a lot of flavor and game mechanics all at once.
Oh.
All right, then.
Oh. Oh.
All right, so what do you think, David?
I think what I like the most about the game is the clear thought and emphasis that the designers put on making sure it's good for tournaments, but also enjoyable just for casual players. I can't speak for other miniatures games because I haven't really played any, but you can be the person that spends the time optimizing lists and making the most effective team to do what you want them to do, and looking through all the team tactic cards to see which one is the best show up at a tournament and hopefully pull off the things you want to do. but you can also be the person who just has some friends over just to chuck some dice around and eat some burgers and crisps and have some drinks and have some fun. I really like the emphasis that's just put on those dynamic moments, said Jacob. Like, I think it's in some of the streams, every now and then they'll show a team tactics card. It might not be the strongest or the most focused for competitive play, but they're doing that and saying, give this a try, it's fun. And I like showing up for a game. If I play with my wife at the time or with some friends, my friends are quite into the game, but they're not getting any of the models. I'm buying all of them. We just like to pick some cards. I'll take these 5 to this game, and we'll just see if we can pull this combo off. And I think that's what I find the most fun about it. I'm painting the models. They all look good. But I think, the next big thing I think is going to be X-Men. Come the 29th, the internet might break.
It
We'll
did
see.
technically break on Friday, so well, at least here. Yeah, I think the no matter if you're competitive or if you're just playing casual, I think this game makes it's bringing the comic to life. We've watched the movies, we've read the comics. We've been looking for a superhero game forever, and then nothing's really fit that niche because you're always just playing either generic characters or you're playing characters that we knew, but it just didn't feel. It felt like a war game. This feels like you're controlling a comic. Things you've always wanted to see, like what happens when like Hawkeye joins the Black Order, and just interesting things like that. It's a bunch of what ifs comics like on the table. I just absolutely love that. I think that in the next year, hopefully with all the stuff, if everything calms down with the pandemic, I have a feeling that we're going to start seeing story events like maybe the Shatari War, maybe a Kree invasion, and there are going to be leagues that we're going to be competing for stuff like that.
Maybe.
And with X-Men coming out, there's definitely going to be an event.
Yeah. Well, the Vibranium Heist will be coming out at some point, won't it? Don't know if you've seen that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
exciting. That's another good thing. You can just take a character and just give them a new character card and say, there's an encounter now.
Yeah. Oh, he's an ultimate counter. Like, here's a bigger card. Go for it.
Yeah. I love as well not having to crouch down and say, oh, I can see a bit of chin and an ear on this character, so you've got to send cover and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, he's size 2, that's size 3, it's blocked. Move on.
For all the watchers and listeners right now, if you've not read his blog on line of sight and like, can I see this person and hit them? No, because they're size 2. If there's a size 4 in the way, it doesn't matter if I'm standing on a size 6 building. Yeah, that changed my game because now I officially hate standing on top of buildings. Because like, I can see him. I can see him right there. No, there's a line that draws through a size 4 thing. I'm sorry, you can't see him.
I still want to put a bounty on someone being able to tell me what the actual rules are when you're standing on top of terrain. Like, could someone explain this to me?
Read his blog. His blog actually has that with pictures.
That's an old one, that one.
I actually reread it recently because I was just like, because I saw somebody was just like, if I'm standing on top of a size 3 building and he's hiding behind a trash can, does that count? And like somebody was just like, you should read this. Just read this.
I'm glad people are finding it useful.
So, all right. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, if you look beneath his wonderful bald head, you will see that he has a blog you should go read.
I've got the donut ring of power.
I was gonna say, James, what's wrong with you? Why would that be your address?
Because
you could have said beneath our guest.
Oh,
you had so many options.
Is that? Don't listen to the ginger below. Just don't listen to the ginger below. He's fine.
The title of my autobiography.
Is that an upcoming hero for the game? The Ginger Below?
The Ginger Below? It's definitely a Morlock.
It sounds like something Neil Gaiman would put in a novel.
Like Sandman
Probably.
just wandering around, and then suddenly it's just like, oh, it's the ginger below, and that's like the only time you ever see.
He'll come back 3 issues later. Massive, powerful creature.
just
Ah,
destroying the
below.
planet. Yeah. Okay. No, we're done with this. We're done. Okay.
Thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you so much, Dave, for being on our show with us. And game off.
Game off.
Game off.